This is The Point, news from Noise, daily market call presented by Kattan Ferretti Financial. I'm your CEO, Brad Roth, and I look forward to having a daily discussion with you over the topics that we present in this note every single morning. So without further ado, The Point. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to The Point. It is July 18th. It's a beautiful Tuesday. Cameron, why don't you hit us with the news?
U.S. futures are mixed this morning, with the S&P and NASDAQ slightly in the red after yesterday saw the overall market relatively unchanged. The dollar fell to a 10-month low, losing ground to all of its G10 peers, as it appears Trump's economic revitalization plan is faltering again after two more Republican senators announced their opposition. Complementing the dollar, gold and oil saw modest gains as oil holds above $46, while iron ore jumped 4.5% after yesterday's 2.4% gain. Many earnings reports will be delivered today, most notably from Bank of America and Goldman Sachs, as attention remains on big banks. Other data to be reported this week includes housing starts and the petroleum status report tomorrow, along with jobless claims and the Philadelphia Fed Business Outlook survey taking place on Thursday. Amazon is at it yet again, this time in the prepared foods sector. They filed for a trademark application to prepare foods ready for cooking, as it can be seen as a play off their recent Whole Foods purchase. Blue Apron, their main competitor in the foods market, lost as much as 12% after the announcement. Bitcoin, in the midst of their civil war, has pumped out some new software to bridge the gap between the divide and their company, and the price climbed back into the 2,200 range after falling as low as 1,700 over the weekend. The Stoxx Europe 600 index dropped 0.6%, with miners reversing yesterday's gains, as the pound fell 0.3% after UK inflation unexpectedly dropped in June. The euro jumped 0.6% off the weaker dollar, and among speculation that the European Central Bank could signal its intent to scale back monetary stimulus at its Thursday meeting, as experts predict no rate hikes before 2019. And round two of the Brexit talks resumed today, although it appears the rest of Europe really does not care, as it failed to hit any front pages of newspapers across the Eurozone. The MSCI Asia Pacific Index added 0.1%, while Japan's TOPIX fell 0.3%. It had fallen nearly 1% at one point after some Bank of Japan officials were said to be concerned about the sustainability of its purchases of ETFs. Australia's index fell 1.2%, however the Aussie dollar rose to a two-year high after central bank minutes revealed optimism on economic growth and wages. OPEC has taken a blow after Ecuador announced it will start increasing oil production this month, claiming it needs the money. The announcement came as members of OPEC were discussing a deal to lower production, and according to a study by Citigroup, China has opened a path for a transformation of its financial markets that could see them matching the U.S. in size and bring in over $3 trillion in capital from abroad by 2025. So, Brad, markets pretty much unchanged yesterday going into today. Not a whole lot going on, kind of waiting around for earnings.
Yeah, it's earnings season coming up with Alcoa reporting and kind of kicking off the big boys tomorrow. Just looking at the markets here, if you're with your update, 1 month S&P's almost unchanged, up 23 basis points. What I find most interesting here, what most people would probably glaze over, is that the Bank of Japan officials were said to be concerned about the sustainability of its purchases of ETFs. People don't really realize that the Bank of Japan owns about 80% of the ETF float on Japan-denominated ETFs or Japanese-denominated ETFs. It's the same thing that goes with the bond purchases, right? It's not that they're buying it; it's how the heck they're going to sell it. How sustainable is this really over the long term? So I think the Bank of Japan has a problem on its hands. It's holding a ton of equity exposure, and how do you, one, continue to prop up the market, and two, find a buyer for it as you start to sell it. So that's kind of I'm going to keep an eye on that for sure. But other than that, Cameron, it looks like Lev Bell can't get a signed deal.
Yeah, I don't know what he's holding out for.
I do, more money.
I mean, I get it. Yeah, he's their best player. He's one of them, maybe even the best player in the league. But he said he might not be attending training camp this year. So
if I was him, to be honest, I wouldn't attend training camp either. He doesn't get paid for it. it only opens him up to injury. They don't get paid for the preseason games, so.
But he's definitely putting himself at risk for this season because, if he signs a deal, then he's locked in. But if he has a bad year or he gets injured, he's going to see his money drop significantly. So I think it's a risky play, but he's a risky person, so I kind of like it. So.
Yeah, I kind of like it as well. All right, well, that wraps up the point for Tuesday, July 18th. We will see you all tomorrow.